Yo, what's good, everybody? Welcome back to another Persona 5 Fanatics videos. Avai here with the latest, or one of the latest Persona 5 Fanatics official West tweets, where they basically confirmed where we're getting summer closer, or what they're calling tropical Motaha. Again, I'm gonna be real. I'm not gonna be calling them tropical. I will always be calling them S closer, summer closer, S moko, something along the lines of that. Because no, I'm not gonna be calling them tropical moko, tropical closer. And then next year we're going to get Tropical Marion and Tropical Puppet. No, I'm just going to call them S. Or wait, what? Are we going to call them T Marion? S just sounds better. Summer sounds better. But that is what I'm going to call them. You can call them whatever you want. If you want to call them that, blah, 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 whatever. But this is what I'm going to be calling them. They also didn't even dignify showing Awilda the perfect lemon head that she is. Like, come on. Come on. We can't even show off the lemon head. Looks so much cooler, but with the little what actually looks like a anchor. Come on, P5X. But that basically is going into what I'm going to be going over today. I'm going to be going over kind of the units that are coming up with 2.x. I think I've made one of these videos before, but I'm more so focusing on Summer Closer and Summer Tomoko, because I keep getting asked the same question, or in my live streams a lot. Just a reminder, I do go live every day at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Sharon's plug out. But with Summer Closer and Summer Tomoko coming up, and them being, summer units, a lot of people have been asking, what unit's better? And I'm going to be kind of giving my opinion. Like, not going to go super deep into it, just because I believe at the end of the day, people should just make their own opinion, because this is a really free-to-play friendly game in the sense that you can get all of the gems, everything fairly easy every single patch. You don't have to sweat that hard. But, as always, everything we'll be talking about is assuming there's not much changes, or there's not going to be any buffs significantly from what is released on TW as compared to what we could see on global. But as always, what we have been seeing, especially what they give Cord, they are buffing basically every single limited character. So I could definitely see us having Summer Closer buffs. We could be seeing Summer Tomoko buffs. We could be seeing Mesa buffs. We could be seeing Haru buffs. And I wouldn't put it past them if they buff one of the most anticipated characters going forward now, with Cord already being out, that being Futaba. So keep that in mind. I think most people would agree that they're probably going to be skipping the summer patch, just for thinking of the future of Futaba and probably of the 3.0 cast. But I'm going to be focusing on the current. So Summer Closer. What are the bright side? Well, she is a AoE damage dealer. When was our last AoE damage dealer that we've gotten in the game? Well, that was Yusuke. Yusuke before, which came up right after Yui, and then, of course, that being Joker. So this is our last AoE damage dealer. But she comes with it being that she is as we can see right here from this, she is a AoE damage dealer. So I think a better comparison would be to Joker and, of course, to Fox. But we get another plus damage dealer in the future, that comes in the form of Kasumi. And that comes around probably late December to early, I would say, January. I think mid-January is probably a better assumption. But I can't directly compare them, besides the fact that they both have Bless. She is a single target, while S Closer is a AoE. It's like me comparing Chinese New Year Ren to Makoto Yuki. That's right. If you're trying to compare Chinese New Year Ren to Makoto Yuki, they do two completely different things outside of the fact they both have fire. If you wanted to compare, where is she? If you want to compare On to Chinese New Year Ren, I think that is a completely fair thing, because they essentially do the same thing. They're both AoE fire damage dealers. So S Closer is our only AoE blessed damage dealer. Or another comparison we could do is Yusuke to Summer Puppet. Those are better comparisons, because they essentially power crept in the entirety of Yusuke with Summer Puppet. Summer Puppet also does follow-up damage like Yusuke does, but she does it better because it basically works like a Yui who has 100% uptime on follow-up attacks. And that's where it's better. So there's not very much comparison, but if you do look at the recent history of the bossing side, which I think is the only thing is our end game, is that we don't really see any sort of blessed bossing for AoE ever since we got Kasumi. It doesn't really pop up anymore. That could change in the future if we get another plus AoE unit, but until we got confirmation of that, I don't think we can really talk about that. So if you're on the bossing side, then I think you can very safely skip Summer Closer. But for the everyday like events and whatnot, going through the palace and all of that, I think S Closer is an extremely well done character. She does her job extremely well because of the fact that she's easy to use, and you can basically put her team on full auto, and it'll work itself quite well. She's a very easily full auto team, and so it'll do well, especially when we look at one of the current units or the events, which is right here, where there is a basically you have to go through a bunch of little fights, and she can basically full sweep this entire thing, assuming we don't really have the plus weakness. Yeah, look at that. Yeah, very easy to full sweep any one of these, and she works well for the more of the general side of things instead of the bossing, and I think that's where I can advise Summer Tomoko a lot more. Summer Tomoko works extremely close to what our Marion does at A0. So if I look at what her skill 2 does, right here, make yourself at home, as we can see here, it gives ailment accuracy, attack, and as well as damage dealt by 30%. So it gives you damage dealt bonus, which is very nice. What does A0 Marion really do outside of healing? Well, she can give you bonus HP. Bonus HP is cool, but it's not always needed, because you get 1500 here, and you get an additional 2000 here, so 3500 HP. It can absolutely help you survive, but it's not the end-all be-all. What we do like is the 30% damage bonus, depending on the amount of stacks you have right here. And then also, more specifically, at A1, where we get the 20% pierce rate right there, and as well as the fact that we can very easily get her weapon for the additional 25% right here. So she gets quite a lot, but she requires a little more investment as compared to just getting an A0 Tomoko. Tomoko at A0 works extremely well. She does everything you need to, and then some. And especially if you're thinking of getting any characters such as Mesa or Haru, because they do want element accuracy, and they can help with that. I know with the buffed version of Haru, we don't really need it, and now we can instead just focus completely on throwing on double buffers on her, so like Cord and then like Wind Vast in the future. But for the immediate future of Haru Supremacy, we'll be running Tomoko especially a lot. And also running Tomoko with her basically guarantees you never having to use a ailment accuracy card. So as you guys probably know, basically every damage dealer in the game wants us to be able to use a crit rate or crit damage star card for the most part. There are some weird cases which we can get into another day. But for her, we actually would want to do effect hit rate. And this right here, a card can give you 38% effect hit rate, which is basically what Haru's 5-star weapon does. It gives you effect hit rate. So that right there is good enough. And like that's why it's important for that. It can help with that. But also with the fact that in guild boss and other bossing effects, we sometimes need healers. And the best healers in the game are going to be, of course, Marion and Summer Tomoko. Not for just straight healing, but because of the buffs they give. All Luful does, the reason why we've talked about this before on the channel, Luful we prefer to use over Mona, purely because of the fact that Luful gives us Starfire for attack. Morgana or Mona doesn't give us anything besides straight up healing for the most part. So that's why we prefer using Luful over Morgana. But if you're talking about for a raw healer, Morgana is of course better. But for the most part, all we're looking for is just a little of either this symbol or this or the shield symbol for those. And then we're looking for what can boost the damage we do. And that's where I think I can strongly recommend, if you're looking at getting a summer unit, I think Summer Tomoko is a much better option. But I think I yapped for long enough. I'm sorry for taking up so much of your guys' time. But I hope you guys have a good day, good night, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye-bye for now.